I ain't complaining. I'm straightening you out.
He's got everything labeled accordingly.
Yeah, it's that simple.
I guess we're about to find out.
And they have pork chop on the stick for lunch. Man, that's good. We got an education this week. This is a 225. We took out a 170. I ain't never worked on no 6-cylinders. I got in there and put the pipe up. Shannon hooked it up to the exhaust manifold. It's hitting the frame. It hit the oil pan. It's hitting everything. Well, it turns out the 225 is what, 1.5 inches or something like that taller than a 170. So I made a spacer to put between the manifold and the pipe so we can get it running, and then we'll carry it to the buffer shop and let him make a new pipe front to back. We got the gas lines made over here for this thing, and I use all the made-for-you clamps. I don't use them pop-in things very much, but that line's got more bends in it than a snake. I put this on it to keep the gravel from flying up beating it. We drilled holes through these races here, put grommets in, and then we got holes through the cross member for the line to go through. We put grommets in there so they don't tear up. So the gas line is on, but it just takes so much time to do this stuff. Now we got the brake lines made for this side. I'll go over here. Shannon's taking them all the powder coating of them. That's the brake lines to go on from the master cylinder up from the proportion valve back to the rear brakes. There we powder coat everything. That way it doesn't rust. We got this little powder coating oven I made.
Little.
It's 4-foot cube.
Big enough you can put a whole rear end in it.
Yeah, we can do a rear end housing. And some of the lines you have to put them crossways, they get a little bit long, but that's where we are with that. Now we've got the, come on up, we'll let this thing down. Shannon's been up here on the radiator today while I've been fooling with wiring and other stuff. We're making progress. Don't look like a lot, but we're getting there. We've got another giant headache coming up, and that's putting the air conditioner and heater lines in, because there's no place to put them. These cars didn't have air conditioning. I don't think they had it from the factory. There's no way they could. Number one, there's nowhere to put it under the dash. The only thing you can put on it is one of those hang-on units. You can look in there, it's in there. This is the only thing you can put in it here. It's the hang-on unit that goes under the dash. That's your heater and your air conditioner. And there is no room. Those trays I made under there to put the fuse panel and all the electrical stuff on, we'd have never been able to put the air conditioner in if them trays hadn't been there, because we got it bolted to those trays underneath. That's what's holding the air conditioner on the back side. Now we got to run lines. This is our next voodoo problem. We had the alternator on this morning, took it back off. But Shannon's got the radiator in, got the condenser in. We're gonna mount the transmission cooler in front of it, and then I'll make the lines for that. Somewhere around here, there it is. That's our 1-wire master power alternator. No regulators, nothing, just 1 wire. You hook a wire up right here, you hook a ground wire up there, and you run it to your battery cable. That's it. You don't have voltage regulators and all that wiring on the dash and all that mess. The first thing you want to do today with the alternators we've got today, the first thing you do is unhook the amp gauge, tie the 2 wires together and tape them up, because that amp gauge will catch on fire. Those amp gauges were made when we had 30, 40 amp alternators. These things are 150. I don't even know what they are now. They're crazy. You can get anything you want. You can get whatever you want. Just keep pouring money at it and they'll make it bigger and stronger. But the alternator and everything fits. I got my electronic ignition stuff is all mounted here. This is this goes to the distributor here. That goes to the coil. All these go back to the ignition switch. We hit all the wires so you don't have any wires out under the hood. There'll be a couple of wires under the hood. You got to have one for the oil pressure gauge and the water temperature gauge. But most everything is hid under the fenders. All the headlight wires and everything all under the fenders. So if we want it to look nice, we're getting there. Shannon had to take the grill out and everything up front to put the condenser in. But that's kind of where we are. We're going to see some good progress in the next week. Now, I'm leaving a week from Saturday to go back to the 50s. I'll be gone for about a week. Got to go back to the 50s. I mean, you got to be there. It's 12,000 cars.
I remember you telling me about that last year.
Nothing newer than the 1964 is allowed. And they have pork chop on a stick for lunch. Man, that's good. This is fourth time I think I've been up there. I just really like that event. If it wasn't so far away, it's about 1,100 miles from here. Yeah, that's 11 or 1,200 miles, something like that. I don't know. I don't pay any attention. I just get in the car, set the cruise control, turn on the satellite radio, and turn the air conditioner and ride.
Have you showed the shifter and all the craziness of
Yeah,
putting
we
it
got the shifters in. Shannon did most of the shifter. I was doing the lines and some of this other crazy stuff. But we're getting there. It's going together. The worst thing we got left to do is the air conditioner hoses. And where to put the dryer for the air conditioner. Did you see? Look at this. We had to move the motor back 3/4 of an inch because the fan was hitting the air conditioner compressor. So we had to put a 3/4 inch spacer on the water pump and move the fan out. Well, now it's hitting the radiator. So we had to move the motor back. I bought a transmission out of an 80s that had a 904 6-cylinder with a lock-up converter. Well, we didn't realize they had changed the housing. And we had the motor moved back, and we tried putting it up in the car. No way. Wasn't going in the car without cutting the whole floor tunnel out. So we had a 904 6-cylinder out of a 73 Duster. That's the car we got the motor out of. So we tried to put that in. We had to move the motor back forward 3/4 of an inch, do a bunch of grinding and cutting on the transmission case, get it bolted up, and then move the motor back 3/4 of an inch. You couldn't bolt it up with the motor back, but you could when you moved the motor forward. Then you could slide the transmission and motor back. Redid the cross member to move the motor back, and redid the motor mounts where we could move it back. So you can see that's the old motor mount hole right there, and that's the new one there where we moved it back. It wasn't hard to do. We got a 1/8 inch of clearance there between the firewall and the transmission case. We ground all the corners off the transmission and everything.
I was here for that.
I didn't realize they changed that case. I never fooled with a 6-cylinder. First one I ever worked on it, I can remember. But we're getting there, slowly but surely. Next time you come, we'll have the distributor in. Well, I got the distributor sitting right over on the table. I was fixing to put it in a minute. And what you do is you take the cap out where you can see the rocker arm. Shannon was turning the motor over. I'm watching the intake rocker arm. And when the intake valve closed, the next time the timing mark comes up at 0, you're at top dead center. So you put the distributor in. Come here. You put the distributor in like you want it with the rotor button where you want to point at your number 1 wire. And then you put the balancer at about 8 or 10 degrees before 0, before top dead center. You see that little thing right there? When you've got it sitting about 8 to 10 degrees before top dead center, you turn the distributor. This will be sitting in the car, and you rotate the distributor so that lines up right there, where it's perfectly lined up. Bolt the distributor down, car crank right up. Timing will be within a couple of degrees.
It's that simple.
Yeah, it's that simple. And I've seen people twist the distributors and fire belts out of the carburetors and all kind of crazy stuff. But that's all there is to it. You can line up the Chrysler deal. You just line up the star wheel and the reluctor and have the balancer sitting on about 10 degrees before top dead center, 8 or 10, right in there wherever you want it, and tighten it down. That's where it'll be when it cranks.
So it's when.
So your distributor cap fires the rotor fires the distributor cap.
Okay.
So you put the distributor in with a timing mark, like I said, about 8 or 10 degrees before top dead center. And then you rotate the distributor till you line that up.
Okay.
Tighten it down, and this has to be pointed at the number 1 plug wire when you put the cap on, and it'll be right. Summit and Jegs and some of them were selling an orange Chrysler box that's a piece of junk. So Rob went to Chrysler and got the schematics and all the prints and everything. Took him about 2 years to get it all the approval and then get it made. And when I called him, he was already working on it. He said, Herb, I've been working on it for over a year. He said, we're going to have it. And so they've got the kits. You can get the 6-cylinder kit, 318 kit, 383 400 kit, or 413 426 kit, or 440 kit. It comes with the distributor, the wiring harness, and the control box, and a resistor if you use a Chrysler coil. If you use an MSD coil, which is what we generally do, they make two. They make a black one and a red one. The red one is mounted standing up. The black one you can mount laying down. If you mount the red one laying down, you're going to burn it up. Ask me how I know. I called a guy at MSD. He said, Herb, why didn't you read the instructions? I said, I don't need to read instructions on how to put a coil in. He said, yes, you do. And I went back and looked, and he was right. They said right in the instructions that the chrome one must be mounted vertical, and the black one you can mount it either way. It'll burn itself up.
Okay.
And see, the heck of it, whoever makes the MSD coils makes a lot of these other coils. The guy come in here, he had a Petronix coil on his car. He done burned it up. Had that baby laying down, so you can't do that. You got to stand it up. But once we figured it out, we hadn't had any trouble.
What I'm thinking, bottom here, since it's got holes here, we can use these holes. I got to drill 2 more. That's the only sad thing. So basically, all we would use was zip tie things forward. If I elongate it just a little bit, what about there? Yeah, if I elongate the holes just there.
That'll work.
Because I got to drill a couple anyway. Slow and steady wins the race. All right, now I got to open the hole up just a little bit. See, because with working with anything like a cooler or condenser, last thing you want to do is get one of the flues here. If you nick one of them, you're going to be in big trouble. But I think we got it. Sometimes it's just a game of a little bit here, a little bit there. I'll go down on this one just a little bit more. Just because I can. All right, I think it's about as good as I want to go. Be safe about it.
Well, I've run into a problem.
What is it?
The that made the distributor.
Well, that's probably not good.
I guarantee it's a metric bolt. Look at the bolt in the bottom.
Is it metric? Oh, it's not. It's kind of square threads, isn't it?
I don't know what it is. Open that metric drawer and see if you can find something that'll fit it.
He's got everything labeled accordingly. He's a big, big fan of metric. Now let's go to the other one. Might be in this one.
There's another box of them in the room in there.
Guess what it is?
Metric.
It is. Where's the box at in there? Ooh.
Don't lose the bolt. We may not have two of them.
You gotta check this label out right here. Made in Taiwan, rebuilt in the USA.
You're in charge of the complaint department? We just put you in charge of it. This is Herb McCandless. I ain't complaining. I'm straightening you out. Your six-cylinder electronic ignition kits, which I bought one of them not long ago. I was putting it on today. He put metric threads in the bottom of that distributor. The regular distributor has a 1/4-20 bolt, and you can almost start it in the threads. And some dummy is going to take that and put a wrench on it and screw it up. I would highly recommend that you see how many 6-cylinder kits you've got, buy you a box of metric, whatever size they are. We got it figured out because I got a drawer that says metric bolts on it. So we opened the drawer and found one to fit it. But put some bolts in those distributors when you send them out, because average person don't have an assortment of metric bolts in their shop. And it's just, yeah, just Go pull one out of the box and look at it. See that thing's got a plate that bolts on the bottom of the distributor. It doesn't have a hold down like a 440 or a 340, you know, where they got the little forked hold down. It doesn't have that. It has a plate that you have to take off the old distributor, put on the new distributor, and bolt it to it. And the bolt you take out of the old one is a 1/4 20. And the bolt you put in the new one is something or other. I don't know what it is. But get you one, get the right thread, put it in. You know I'm not complaining. I just wanted to warn you because somebody's going to screw it up. Warn them about it, or if they buy one.
I wonder how that's going to do that then. Well, guess we're about to find out.
Okay, let me warn you about something else. 5.7, 6.1, 6.4, whatever, all Gen 3 Hemis have metric bolts that hold the motor mount to the block. You can take a 7/16 standard thread bolt and screw it in almost 3 threads before it starts tearing the threads up. I mean, you can literally screw it in with your fingers first couple threads. I figured that out the hard way too. No, why not? We live in America. I grew up doing this stuff for the last 82 years. I don't need metric bolts. I hadn't had anything fall apart.